I walked into my apartment expecting the usual, Kate scrolling through her phone, maybe the scent of dinner lingering in the air. Instead, I found something that made my stomach drop. Suitcases lined up by the door. Kate was sitting on the couch, one leg tucked under the other, lazily swirling a glass of wine in her hand. On the coffee table in front of her, a stack of neatly printed papers caught my eye. Plane tickets. She barely glanced up when I entered. "Oh, hey, you're home early." Something in her tone, the casual indifference, set me on edge. "What's going on?" I asked, my voice already tight with unease. She exhaled dramatically, like I was forcing her into an unpleasant conversation. "Nick, look, I've been thinking a lot and I realized something." She finally looked me in the eye. "I don't want to get married." Silence. My ears started ringing. "Excuse me?" I barely recognized my own voice. She took a sip of wine before continuing, completely unaffected by the nuclear bomb she had just dropped. "I mean, marriage? Settling down. That's just not me. I need adventure, freedom." She gestured toward the tickets. "So, I booked a tour around Europe. Figured it's now or never." I was frozen. 5 years. 5 damn years together, planning, building, thinking we were on the same page. And now, 1 week before our wedding, she decides she'd rather go backpacking? "You're joking." It wasn't a question. It was a plea. She laughed. Actually laughed. "Nick, you've always been so serious. You'll be fine. You've got your career, your cases. Hell, you probably won't even notice I'm gone." That snapped something inside me. "You think this is funny? You're throwing away 5 years like it's nothing?" She rolled her eyes. "Oh, come on. You knew I was never the perfect housewife type. Be honest. This is for the best." I couldn't even process the betrayal, the selfishness. And then she dropped the final bomb. "By the way, I booked the trip on your credit card. Hope you don't mind." My hands clenched into fists. My vision blurred at the edges. "You did what?" "Relax. You can afford it." She leaned back on the couch, stretching like she didn't have a care in the world. "Consider it a parting gift." I let out a short, bitter laugh, shaking my head. My life, our life, had just gone up in flames, and she was treating it like a casual brunch cancellation. The anger surged. I needed an outlet. My eyes darted to the small wedding cake sample I had brought home earlier. Without thinking, I grabbed it and hurled it at the wall. The impact sent frosting splattering in all directions. Kate blinked, stunned for the first time. "Dramatic much?" I took a deep breath, forcing control. "Get out! Take your damn bags and get out!" She sighed, standing up with exaggerated laziness. "Fine, fine. No need to be so emotional. I was leaving anyway." As she walked past me, she patted my chest. "You'll thank me later." I didn't move as she dragged her suitcases out the door. The moment it shut behind her, the silence felt deafening. I stood there, feeling the weight of everything crash down on me. My hands shook, adrenaline still coursing through my veins. I had spent the past year planning a future that no longer existed. The venue had been booked, the invitations sent, and the honeymoon reservations made. All for nothing. I grabbed my phone, scrolled through my messages, and found the group chat with my best man, Jason. My fingers hovered over the keyboard. What could I even say? "Hey, wedding's off. Kate's gone to Europe on my dime." I locked the screen and tossed the phone onto the couch. Not yet. Instead, I walked over to the coffee table, picking up the printed tickets. First class, multiple destinations, Paris, Rome, Barcelona. I scoffed. She had really gone all out. Using my money. My phone buzzed. A text from Kate, one final insult before disappearing. Kate. "Hey, don't be mad. You'll find someone who actually wants to play house. No hard feelings." Ix. I clenched my jaw so hard it hurt. No hard feelings? Was she serious? I wanted to throw my phone against the wall, but I refused to give her the satisfaction of knowing she had broken me. Instead, I did what I always did when things spiraled out of control. I went to work. I grabbed my laptop, sat down at the dining table, and pulled up my bank account. My stomach twisted. Thousands of dollars gone. Flights, hotel reservations, luxury experiences, all booked under my name. I should have seen this coming. There were signs, weren't there? The sudden excitement about solo travel blogs. The way she hesitated whenever we talked about settling down. The fact that she never once seemed as invested in the wedding as I was. I rubbed a hand down my face, forcing myself to breathe. I couldn't change what had happened, but I sure as hell wasn't going to let her walk away from this clean. My mind raced through my options. Fraud? No, technically, she had access to my card. But maybe there was something else. Something she hadn't thought of. I opened my email and started searching. If Kate wanted a fresh start, I'd make damn sure she got one. Just not the way she expected. I thought my life was secure, until I found out the truth. Turns out, I was never meant to keep what was mine. But if she thought I would just let this go, she clearly didn't know me at all. If she thinks I'll just accept this and move on, she doesn't know me at all. The next morning, I woke up to a dozen missed calls and unread messages. Apparently, Kate had wasted no time rewriting history. My phone was buzzing nonstop with texts from friends, family, and colleagues, all wanting to know what had happened. I opened one message from my friend Jason. Jason, dude, WTF? Kate's saying you were controlling? That she escaped from a suffocating life with you? My grip on the phone tightened. Escaped? Like I was some kind of prison warden? Scrolling through social media, I found even more. Kate had already posted about her new journey, describing how she had been trapped in a relationship that stifled her spirit, and how she had finally found herself by taking a leap of faith. She made me sound like some possessive monster who had kept her locked away from the world. I threw my phone onto the couch, pacing the living room. This wasn't just impulsive, this was planned. I sat down at my laptop and dug deeper. A quick search of her name revealed new accounts on Instagram and TikTok, all dedicated to her journey of self-discovery. She had been setting this up for months, long before she ever told me she wanted to call off the wedding. One post in particular made my blood boil. It was a picture of her standing in front of the airport, arms raised in victory. The caption read, "Stepping into my real life. No regrets, no looking back. Some people will never understand, but that's okay." Freedom. Solo traveler. Oh, I understood perfectly. She had used me, played the long game, drained my bank account, humiliated me, and walked away like it was all part of some inspirational story arc. I needed answers, and I knew exactly where to start. I dialed her number. To my surprise, she actually picked up. "Nick, hey! Didn't expect you to call. I figured you'd be processing things." I forced my voice to stay calm. "I have one question. How long? How long were you planning this?" A pause, then a sigh. "Nick, don't be like that. It's just business." My stomach twisted. "Business? You drained my credit card and ran off to Europe. That's not business. That's fraud." She laughed, and it made my skin crawl. "Oh, don't be so dramatic. You're acting like I robbed you at gunpoint. You're a big-shot lawyer, Nick. You'll be fine. You think this is funny?" "No," she said, her tone suddenly sharper. "I think you're overreacting. You always were so obsessed with control. Maybe now you'll learn to let go." I was done. "Enjoy your trip, Kate. Because when you come back, you're going to regret every second of it." I hung up before she could reply. My hands were shaking, but my mind had never been clearer. I wasn't just going to sit back and let her get away with this. I needed a plan, and I needed an ally. Jessica. She had warned me about Kate from the start, and if anyone would help me unravel this mess, it was her. I grabbed my phone and called her. She picked up on the first ring. "Nick, finally, you saw the posts?" "I saw them," I muttered. "I need your help." "Good, because I already started digging." Jessica sounded energized, like she had been waiting for this moment. "You're not going to believe what I found." I grabbed my keys and headed for the door. "I'm on my way." Jessica's apartment was a mess of papers, screenshots, and printed out emails when I arrived. She had clearly been up all night, piecing together the truth. "Okay, sit down," she said, handing me a coffee. "This is insane." She pulled up Kate's new Instagram page and scrolled through the posts. "Look at this. She's been working with a travel blogger named Dylan for months. He's got over 500,000 followers. She planned everything, Nick. The breakup, the trip, the narrative. She was setting herself up as some kind of influencer. I clenched my jaw. So this was never just about finding herself. She wanted an audience. She wanted attention. Jessica nodded. And here's the kicker. She's monetizing it. Sponsors, ads, affiliate links. She's turning your money into her brand. I felt my blood pressure spike. She used me to fund her career launch? Exactly, and it gets worse. She's not even traveling alone. Dylan is with her. That stopped me cold. Wait, she has a travel partner? Jessica turned the laptop screen to face me. Look at this. She's in Rome now, and Dylan's been posting pictures that match hers. Same restaurants, same views. My stomach churned. So, she left me and went straight into another guy's arms. And now she's making money off the betrayal. Jessica's expression was grim. What do you want to do? I leaned back, exhaling slowly. She thinks she's won, that she's untouchable. But she made one big mistake. Jessica arched an eyebrow. And what's that? A slow, cold smile spread across my face. She underestimated me. This wasn't over. Not even close. You stole everything from me. Now, let's see how you like losing it all. I wasn't going to sit back and watch Kate turn my humiliation into profit. If she wanted to play dirty, I was more than ready to get my hands dirty too. First, I needed to cut off her lifeline. Money. Through a friend who worked at my bank, I had every single card she had used on my account frozen. No warnings, no explanations, just an abrupt stop to her free ride. It didn't take long for the panic to set in. Less than an hour after the freeze, my phone rang. Kate's number. I let it go to voicemail. The second time, I answered. Nick, what the hell? My cards aren't working. I'm stranded in Paris. Her voice was laced with frustration and just a hint of fear. I smirked. Oh, that's unfortunate. Maybe you should ask your new travel buddy to cover your expenses. She scoffed. Nick, this isn't funny. I have no access to money. I can't even book a damn hostel. Wow, I mused. You mean taking someone's money and running away with it can have consequences? Shocking. She took a deep breath. Okay, fine, I get it. You're mad. But you can't just leave me like this. Oh, Kate, I said, unable to hide my satisfaction. I absolutely can. I ended the call and turned my attention to the second part of my plan, exposing her. Jessica had already helped spread the truth about what Kate had done. Social media was a powerful tool, and we used it to our advantage. A thread went viral. Beware of fake influencers, the story of a woman who left her fiancé to fund her travel career. Screenshots followed, Kate's old posts about our wedding plans, messages about her boring life, and then the sudden transformation into an independent, solo traveler, conveniently funded by my bank account. People were furious. Comments flooded in. What a snake. This is disgusting. How do these people sleep at night? I unfollowed, not supporting frauds. And then the best part happened. Brands started pulling out. Jessica, being the genius she was, had directly reached out to a few of Kate's new sponsors. With enough pressure from public backlash, they cut ties with her, one by one. But the real kicker? Her travel blogger partner, Dylan, wasn't happy about the fallout. Turns out he was in it for the sponsorships too, and when companies backed out, his pockets suffered as well. A few days later, a post from Dylan appeared. I do not condone deceitful behavior. I was unaware of Kate's actions prior to this trip, and I have no affiliation with her moving forward. Translation? He dumped her. And just like that, her dream adventure crumbled. No money, no sponsors, no travel buddy, stuck in a foreign country with nothing but her lies. Kate tried calling me again, and again. I ignored every single one. Then, out of nowhere, Jessica called me. You're going to love this, she said, barely able to contain her laughter. Kate just went live on Instagram, begging her followers for donations. I opened the app, and sure enough, there she was, disheveled, makeup smudged, her once perfect influencer image shattered. The caption? Emergency, I need help. My cards were stolen, and I'm stuck in Paris with nothing. Please donate. The comment section was brutal. Karma's a bitch, huh? Weren't you just bragging about finding yourself last week? Didn't you literally scam your ex for this trip? I leaned back, sipping my coffee. She really thought people would buy that? Jessica laughed. She's desperate. And it gets better. Dylan is now claiming she scammed him too. He posted a rant about how she made promises about brand deals that never existed. She's done, Nick. It was poetic justice. Kate had played everyone, and now the world saw her for who she truly was. The last message she sent was a simple, desperate text. Nick, please. I need your help. I stared at it for a while before finally responding. Find yourself, Kate. Isn't that what you wanted? Then I blocked her number. She had taken everything from me. And now, she had nothing. And damn, did it feel good? The game was over. Kate had spent years crafting a version of herself that wasn't real. She had built her dream life on lies, deceit, and my bank account. But now, reality was catching up to her, and it wasn't pretty. The morning after her public meltdown, my phone rang again. I didn't even have to look to know who it was. But this time, curiosity got the better of me. I picked up. Nick, oh my God, finally, you have to help me. I leaned back in my chair, smirking. Help you? Kate, last I checked, you were living your best life. Her voice cracked. Please. I have no money, no place to stay. I can't even book a flight home. Dylan left me stranded. I was scammed by a fake hostel last night. I have nowhere to go. I couldn't help but laugh. You mean to tell me the fearless, independent solo traveler who scammed her fiancé to fund her dreams is now begging for a handout? Nick, please, I made a mistake. I wasn't thinking. I think you were thinking just fine when you drained my account, when you lied to our friends, when you turned our relationship into some twisted storyline to sell to your followers. I was wrong, but you can't just leave me here like this. I shook my head. Kate, I think you're forgetting. This is exactly what you wanted, an adventure. Well, congratulations, you got one. She sobbed into the phone, her voice shaking. I just need a ticket home, that's all. Please. I leaned forward, my tone colder than ever. No, Kate, that's not all. You don't get to walk away from this with a simple plane ticket. Actions have consequences. And I was about to make sure she experienced every last one. I called Jessica and filled her in. I want her out of that hotel by nightfall. Jessica grinned on the other end of the line. Already ahead of you. I found out the hotel she's staying at. And guess what? She never paid for the last 3 nights. I chuckled. Perfect. Let's make sure they know exactly who they're dealing with. Jessica, being the relentless force that she was, called the hotel, pretending to be a journalist investigating fraud cases. She hinted that Kate was involved in suspicious financial activity and might be using stolen credit cards. That was all it took. Within hours, security escorted Kate out of the hotel, her suitcases dumped unceremoniously onto the street. She had nowhere to go. Desperate, she tried calling mutual friends, but no one wanted to be associated with her anymore. She had burned every bridge. Even the travel influencers she admired refused to support her. Meanwhile, the internet continued to tear her apart. Someone had compiled all of Kate's old posts, her gushing wedding plans, our engagement photos, and then her sudden pivot to empowered solo traveler. The hypocrisy was too much for people to ignore. More influencers called her out. Brands that hadn't already dropped her made public statements cutting ties. Even travel forums warned about her scams. Her name became synonymous with betrayal. With no money and no place to stay, she resorted to asking strangers for help. Jessica sent me a video that had surfaced. Kate sitting on a bench, trying to explain her situation to a group of tourists, only for them to shake their heads and walk away. The sympathy she craved was nowhere to be found. That evening, Jessica called me again. You're not going to believe this. She's at the airport. And she's been trying to convince the airline to let her board a flight without paying. Apparently, she's sobbing at the counter, saying her ex stole all her money. I laughed. That's rich. Oh, it gets better. Some guy recognized her from social media and started recording. The video's already spreading. I opened my phone and checked Twitter. Sure enough, There she was, mascara streaked down her face, arguing with the airline staff while people whispered around her. The caption read, "From influencer to infamous. Watch Kate the scam queen try to flee Paris after her con falls apart." Kate had become a global joke. Even news outlets picked up the story, running headlines like "Luxury travel influencer caught in web of lies" and "Bride-to-be turns grifter gets stranded." I shook my head, exhaling deeply. She did this to herself. Jessica sighed. "So, what now?" I smirked. "Now? She gets exactly what she deserves. A cheap middle seat on the most uncomfortable flight home, if she can even afford that." Kate had spent years manipulating people, using them for her own gain. But the moment she had to face real consequences, she crumbled. The last thing I heard about her was that she had finally scrounged up enough money for a budget flight home, economy, middle seat, with 3 layovers. When she arrived in New York, no one was waiting for her. No friends, no welcome party. Just the cold reality of her own making. And for the first time in weeks, I finally felt free. Some victories feel better than money. This was one of them. Kate was back in New York, but not as the glamorous influencer she once pretended to be. The moment she landed, the weight of her choices hit her. No home, no friends, no career. Her reputation was in ruins, and she had no one to blame but herself. Meanwhile, I had moved on. My life was finally coming together, and I was making sure she knew it. The first thing I did after her return was ensure she couldn't crawl back into the online world. With Jessica's help, we continued to push the truth about her downfall. Every time she tried to rebrand herself under a new name, people would dig up her past. Forums, influencers, and even news articles kept resurfacing her scams. No company wanted to be associated with her. Her blog shut down. Her brand deals? Gone. Even her personal social media accounts were flooded with comments exposing her lies. She had nowhere left to run. Desperate for money, she attempted to start a crowdfunding campaign, claiming she had been wrongfully canceled and needed support for her new beginning. It didn't take long before people flooded the comments, calling her out. The campaign was reported and taken down within hours. It wasn't long before I got a call from our mutual acquaintance, Jason. "You're going to love this," he said, barely containing his laughter. "Kate's looking for a job. And guess where she applied?" "Where?" I asked, smirking. "A travel agency, as a receptionist. Can you believe it? The solo traveler influencer, reduced to booking vacations for other people." I let out a short chuckle. "Life comes at you fast." Jason continued. "She didn't get the job, by the way. Too much bad press. They didn't want the drama." I shook my head, amused. Couldn't have happened to a better person. On my end, things had never been better. After all the chaos Kate put me through, karma had worked its magic, and I was reaping the benefits. My firm noticed my dedication and offered me a promotion. More money, more recognition, and best of all, more power. I accepted without hesitation. Jessica and I had grown closer, and what started as a friendship built on mutual frustration over Kate had turned into something real. She had been there through it all, proving herself to be the kind of person Kate never was: honest, loyal, and genuinely supportive. One evening, while we were having dinner, Jessica smirked and slid her phone across the table. "Guess who's trying to message you?" I glanced at the screen. Kate. The message was short. "I hope you're happy." I smiled, taking a sip of my drink. "I really am, without her." Jessica laughed, clinking her glass against mine. "Cheers to that." A few days later, I got another unexpected call, this time from a former mutual friend who still kept tabs on Kate. "Nick, you're not going to believe what she's doing now." "Let me guess, another scam?" I asked, barely interested. "Close. She's trying to get into reality TV. Some low-budget redemption show about rebuilding your life after mistakes. But producers pulled out last minute because they saw her history. She had a breakdown on social media about it." I checked online, and sure enough, there was a long, dramatic post from Kate about how she had been persecuted for one mistake and how she deserved a second chance. But people weren't buying it. The comments were brutal. A mistake? You scammed your fiancé and ran off to Europe. That's not a mistake. That's being a terrible person. Kate, no one trusts you. Move on. Maybe try actually apologizing instead of playing the victim? I exhaled, shaking my head. She still hadn't learned a thing. Meanwhile, my life kept improving. My career was skyrocketing, and my relationship with Jessica was becoming something I never expected. Effortless, real, and built on trust. I had everything I needed, while Kate was still scrambling to salvage what was left of her broken image. Months passed, and eventually the noise around Kate faded. She was no longer relevant. No one cared about her drama anymore. The world moved on, and so did I. One evening, as I sat on my balcony with Jessica, watching the city lights flicker in the distance, I realized just how much my life had changed. No more stress, no more betrayal, just peace. Jessica nudged me, smirking. Penny for your thoughts? I turned to her, smiling, just thinking about how far I've come. How much better life is now. She grinned, and to think, it all started with the worst breakup ever. I laughed, raising my glass. Best thing that ever happened to me? Kate had spent her entire life chasing a fantasy, only to be left with nothing. I, on the other hand, had everything I needed. And that was the sweetest revenge of all.